Do you know that you are an emotional suppressor? Have you been an emotional suppressor? Have you tried to let things go before and it doesn't actually work because you end up just ruminating? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then this episode is for you. Welcome back, beautiful friends, to another episode of Glowing with Talia. I'm your host, Talia, and I'm so happy that you're here today. Let's get right into it. Today, we are talking about letting go and what it actually means to just let things go. We hear this concept all the time in personal development, in therapy, in spiritual communities, but what does it actually mean to let it go? Because sometimes letting it go can actually turn into suppression. And we don't want that. We want you to be able to feel all of your emotions and feel how you want to feel. And actually feel like, okay, I'm in power. I have choice. So, yes, just let it go. But how do you actually do that in a way where you're not suppressing? So, today I'm going to teach you 3 ways to actually process your emotions so that you can have a healthy relationship with them and that eventually you can just let them go. But for now, you want to start off with actually letting your body feel them fully. So, first, I want to help you identify what some of your most common patterns are. So, we're going to talk nervous system, we're going to talk emotions. So, you probably have heard of the nervous system responses of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So, I want to introduce you to a simpler concept that sometimes can be easier to track. So, instead of all these 4 different responses, imagine that there's just 2 modes: hypotonic and hypertonic. And hypotonic is that more like that freeze state when you're feeling disconnected, you feel really tired, you might feel numb or slow or blank and have a hard time making sentences. You have a hard time accessing the reasoning part of your brain. Oftentimes, this will kick in as a protection mechanism, which both of those, hypo and hyper, are protection. And oftentimes, hypotonic will kick in during a difficult conversation or anything that your system gets triggered by and now wants to protect you from. When I feel hypotonic, I notice this like weight is kind of pulling me down. Like it feels very heavy, it feels slow, it kind of also feels good. Like my system knows that I like this. I prefer to feel numb sometimes than to feel the intensity of whatever is presenting itself. So I want to just also offer that there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of these states. It's just that when you are not aware and when you don't understand how to regulate yourself back to that baseline, when you get stuck in either one of these states and it feels like, you want to get out of it. So that's what I'm here to teach you today. So that's hypotonic. It's heavy, it's slow, it's numb, sometimes disassociated. Now, hypertonic is when you've got this adrenaline in your system. It's when you're alert, you're hypervigilant, you are ready to go. A lot of times, anger lives here, blame, and sometimes your heart's beating fast, your breath is shallow. That's hypertonic, okay? It's when you just want to move, you just got to get out of there, you might feel shaky. So, again, both of these nervous system responses are normal ways for your body to react. The problem comes in when you don't understand what's going on for you and you can't help yourself get back to a baseline. So a healthy system can go between hypertonic, hypotonic, back to regular tone all the time. You do this hundreds of times a day. So what happens when things get stuck and you try to, quote unquote, just let it go? When you try to just let it go, you might be telling your body that it doesn't matter. You might be telling yourself that It doesn't matter that there's something wrong. And so instead of just letting it go, you want to actually work with what's going on inside of your system to release that. So, one of my somatic psychology teachers uses the term sequence to describe what's happening in your body and what it does when you're processing emotions or nervous system responses through your body. Another somatic psychotherapy teacher talks about releasing the charge. So, with both of these terms, I don't know that the two of them would actually say that they're the same, but I'm here saying that they're basically talking about the same thing. So, sequencing is letting your system fully do what it needs to do to let that emotion go. Instead of telling yourself, okay, I'm just going to let it go, and trying to just use your brain to do that, you use your body and the way that it naturally wants to express those states, those emotions, to release the charge. So I want you to rethink this idea of what letting it go means. It's not as simple as just, okay, I'm letting it go. Boom, brush it off. Because sometimes what happens when you let it go, or when you say you're going to let it go, is you just immediately start to think about the thing that you're trying to not think about. So again, I want to give you some tools that you can use to process your feelings through your body. So whether you're in a hypotonic or a hypertonic state, try out these tools and see what happens. And as long as you are keeping track of what happens for you as you go through these exercises, you're doing it right, okay? Everything that you notice is just information. So as much as you possibly can, just neutralize your judgment. There's no self-judgment necessary here. So eventually, like I said earlier, you can get to a place where you can just let it go. But all of those parts of you, all of the younger parts, all of your triggers, just want to know that they can actually trust you. So that instead of pushing it aside, avoiding, or suppressing, you actually give yourself what you need. And the more you practice giving yourself what you actually need, the more that your body will learn to trust you. Before we get to the tools, I want to ask you, which pattern do you normally go into? Do you find that you're more hypotonic with like disassociation and freeze, or do you find that you're more hypertonic? And of course, we all have all of these patterns, so just notice what happens for you. Okay. So this first tool I'm going to give you is especially good for anger, resentment, blame. And the goal with these is to get large muscle group activation. So that's like your biceps, your thigh, your quads, your large muscle groups, okay? So that's what your body naturally needs when it's in that heightened nervous system response. It needs that big muscle group activation. So for this first one, find a hand towel and hold both of the ends in your hands. And this is what you're going to use to get that large muscle activation in your arms. So using all of your force and making that this motion really come from your center, come from your chest, your shoulders, feeling it all the way down your arms. I want you to pull and twist on that hand towel as hard as you can. As hard as you can. Wring it out. Wring it out. You can even embed your intention of whatever is pissing you off into that hand towel and just imagine you're wringing it out completely, like getting it all out. I've also seen people on the internet throwing like adult tantrums where they use pillows to shove into the couch, and that looks really cathartic too. So I would recommend that. But again, for that and for anger, you really want that large muscle group activation. So to get that, sometimes punching on the bed doesn't really hit like you want it to. Sometimes you need this slow, sustained effort That's why things like wringing it out of this hand towel work. That's why this next tool works too. Doing a wall sit where you get this tightness building up in your quads. Or also doing a plank and pushing against the ground where you're in a push up position, or pushing against the wall as hard as you possibly can, and combining that push with saying no or saying whatever you need to say to that person who's pissing you off, that can be really, really helpful. And again, we're targeting your big muscle groups in a way that actually lets all of that charge build up and fully release, rather than when you're punching or pounding with cushions on your bed. It's slower bursts of energy that, again, can be really cathartic, but it doesn't always get to what you want it to get to. So that's my tool for you. We have the towel wringing exercise, we have the wall sit, and we have the pushing against the wall. Those are all three really good ones. And when you do this, you want to just give it a time frame. You can spend like 3 minutes doing this and just see how you feel. You could spend even less time doing it. See how you feel. I will say that sometimes, and especially for women, there can be a pattern of going from hypertonic, of this anger and resentment and blame, right down into a freeze state or a shutdown or that hypotonic. So just notice that if that happens for you, and know that that's also normal and there's nothing wrong with you if that happens. It's just your body, what it's learned how to do with that much of intense emotions. Okay. And I want to say too, I recommend that if you're doing any of these things, to have someone to talk to about it, like a therapist or your trusted friend. I would highly recommend a somatic therapist who will know about these tools and know about the nervous system patterns and will understand what you're talking about. Okay, so this next tool I want to give you is using the power of visualization and intention to release. So, like I said, I would recommend that you go towards really exploring with your body these emotions and processing through there, especially if you have a past of emotional suppression. But eventually, you can get to a place where you can really just lay it down and let it go. And so that's what this tool is. You give yourself a place. Usually, I do mine out in nature, and I use a tree and I say, "Tree, you are my place where I'm laying down all the stuff that I don't want to carry." And I say a prayer and I set the intention to release all the energies that are blocking me from being an open channel of love. And through this process, because it's a ritual, right? It's not just saying, okay, I'm letting it go and moving on. I'm physically walking over to this tree and placing down this imaginary crap that I'm holding and putting it down at the base of the tree. This touches on those physical layers, and that really helps to solidify for myself, for my system, for my body, that I have actually set it down. So you can do this anywhere. You can create in your home an altar or a place where you're going to lay it down every day. When you wake up, when you go to bed, lay it down all the time, okay? And the last tool I want to share with you today is something that I will go into depth more in a later episode coming up. But this is a tool called Emotional Freedom Technique and Tapping. And this tool alone has absolutely changed the game for me and for so many people. Tapping works with the meridian points in your body. You tap on these different points, and it gives your body a way to regulate while you verbally process whatever's on your mind. So technically, there is a structure for how to do this in the quote unquote right way or most evidence-based way. But I like to use tapping in a more intuitive way where I just let myself verbally process what needs to happen. And same thing for clients. So when there's an emotion that's coming up that's really intense, and I can tell that my client is almost there with it, but they're still within their window of tolerance and they just need to push a little bit more, connect a little bit more with it to be able to get through to the other side. I'll introduce tapping as a way to keep my client in their window of tolerance, grounded and connected to themselves, and also able to connect to that intense emotion. So, what you do, I want you to look at this chart that I'll put in the comments. You're going to start by tapping on the side of your hands, the outside of your hands, and then you go to the point on the top of your head. Then you go to the point where your eyebrow bone hits, and then the side of your eye, then the bottom of your eye, and then above your lip, then below your lip, then your collarbone spot, and then your heart spot. Okay? And when you do this, you're going to run through this sequence a few times, and you're going to just verbally process and dump everything that's on your mind. Everything. All of the negative thoughts, all the positive thoughts, all of your thoughts. Just say them out loud while you do this tapping. And as you do that, you'll give yourself an opportunity to witness your own thoughts. And doing this helps yourself see what is true for you and what you actually don't want to hold on to anymore. So you might notice that when you do this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, eventually you will start to naturally, just naturally, change the pattern of your thinking because naturally you want to think thoughts that make you feel good. And when you do this tapping, you will notice really quickly which thoughts make you feel and which ones make you feel good. And it gives you the opportunity to replace those thoughts with the good feeling thoughts in real time. And the tapping helps you anchor those good feeling thoughts into your system. So it's literally rewiring, repatterning your system in real time using both the power of thought and your physical somatic experience. So, I will go more into depth on tapping in a further episode, like I said, but those are my 3 tools that I want to leave you with today for how you can actually process your emotions very quickly without emotionally suppressing. So that when you say, okay, I'm letting this go, you actually let it go instead of holding on to it secretly in the back of your mind because your body hasn't let it go yet. I want to give you a bonus because it's coming to my mind and I can't believe that I didn't write it down. My bonus tool for you is a 2-parter: dancing and singing. When you dance to your favorite song, any song, when you dance, you give your body the freedom to process what it needs to without you thinking anything, without you saying anything. Your body knows what it needs. And when you dance, even for just one song, you give yourself the time and the space to just get it out. Same thing with singing. And especially when you let yourself make all kinds of sounds that aren't just like, oh, beautiful singing. When you let yourself make like guttural, ugly, distorted sounds, whatever sounds you want to make, your voice is your own personal singing bowl. It's literally designed for you to help you, your system, hear what it needs to hear, feel the vibration that it needs to feel. It's literally your own personal singing bowl. So, anytime you need a hit of regulation, you need to process something, know that you can use the power of your voice as you would any other instrument that you wanted to use. Okay, those are the bonus tools. I'm sending you so much love. If you try these, let me know how it goes. I want to hear from you. Send this to somebody who would also benefit from learning these tools. Don't forget to follow the podcast. I'm sending you so much love. Be well. Bye.